I'm going to say it again. The reason modern day hierarchies are diseased is because people don't have inherent value. So they're looking for power by external forms. So a real hierarchy is just a level of responsibility. The person at the top is the one who has the most responsibility. The king is the one who's serving everyone. That's how nature is designed. So the person at the top is the one who's the most selfless. That's when you're plugged into life itself. You have so much power that you can give the most, and you have the skill set that enables you to be in that position, so that makes you the king or the queen or whatever that is. So what has given you the value? Life itself, and has given you also the skill set to be able to manage and organize and care for the well-being of your nation. The power comes from nature, and everyone has access to the power of nature, but at different rungs or capacities. So everybody is there to serve the whole and each other. The king being the one who serves, who has the greatest level of responsibility. This is how dharma or nature organizes things. In today's modern day, people don't have access to power or inherent power from life itself. So they create structures to steal from others their power so that they can be on top of them. So when we think of hierarchies today, when the so-called feminisms and speak of patriarchy and all of this is essentially what they mean. They haven't analyzed it at a deeper level, but this is what they mean. It's like, well, you create a structure and you abuse every single person that you can and suck everything that you can from them, because what the fuck are you going to do? Well, that's not how a structure of a hierarchy of power in nature organizes itself. That's how a psychotic, insane system organizes itself. So the people at the bottom are crushed and are told repetitively, you're worth nothing. And the people at the top are highlighted as the gods of the world, who are there to be celebrated because there's nothing greater than them. They're amazing. They're akin to God. And the people at the bottom worship those people because these people are so smart, so intelligent, so ingenious. They're so amazing, and you're nothing, and you're just fortunate to be in their shadow. Is this not how people in our modern day work? Great. Well, is that really how nature operates? Nature doesn't work like this. But this is how your modern world works, because it's not plugged into the grid of nature itself. It's plugged into another mind. We've covered this before. Let's not go into that. So these structures are created in order for the top to suck from the bottom. That's how it lives. When you're not plugged to nature, you're in deficit. So the people who are quote unquote intelligent are going to be like, well, how can I steal from you so that I'm not in deficit? So I steal from you, I want to steal from 2, now it's not enough. I need to steal from 10, I need to steal from 100, I need to steal from 1,000, I need to steal from 1,000,000, I need to steal from 1,000,000,000, so that I can have more and you can have, well, the little you have, I'll take it. Now, the question is, how does such an organization put itself in a position to be able to steal? Well, by selling you an illusion. Its very nature is to sell you an illusion. Nike is an illusion. What's the illusion? You can be great like this false god, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, all false gods. You can be great like that if you wear those shoes. I'm selling you a dream. So I don't want to get into the mechanics of this. Let's leave Nike aside. The point is, if you're not connected to life, you're in scarcity, you're in deficit. That means you're not going to create, if you have the capacity, the first thing you're going to do is create a structure in order to place yourself at the top so that you can take from the bottom. That's what a smart person who's in deficit would do. Listen, you're dumb. I'm going to take from you. You're not able to think the way I do. I'm not there to serve you. You're a simple-minded person. You're a farmer. You're shit. But this is a kind of mind and a certain kind of nature. Simple, live outside, does simple tasks repetitively, consistently, every day, all their lives, never falter. This is a moron. Let's take advantage of that person because he's a moron. He doesn't know how to think like us, and is not able to devise strategies to steal. At least not at such a scale. So let us create an organization that pretends that it cares about your well-being and is going to sell you whatever. Let's say a t-shirt or a drink that is good for your happiness. And we're going to use you, imbecile, and manipulate you and give you a little ding-a-ding-a-ding, little coins to make you pretend that it's a fair trade. While we just suck and suck and suck and suck and suck, and our whole organization's purpose is to suck. Study any modern corporation, and this is what you'll see. What they're doing at the end of the day is sucking. It doesn't matter what's the illusion it's selling. It's not, let's say they sell fashion. Yeah, I'm not saying you're not getting a piece of outfit that looks good or not good. I'm saying its purpose is to suck. That's its goal. So if it has to sell you a pretty dress, it will make you a pretty dress and so that it can suck from you. And it can suck from a group of so many people. It's by design, its purpose is to suck. It's not plugged into dharma. It doesn't have actual power. So when you stop and analyze this, so how do you fix this? Well, you technically can't. The only way to fix this is to understand the nature of the problem, and nobody wants to look at the nature of the problem because it frightens them, because it makes you realize, well, there's a problem. Yeah, there's a fundamental problem. Jesus told you about this. There's two paths, the way of life, the way of destruction. When you're not connected to the Word of God, that means the power at the base of creation. Just to simplify, if you're not connected to nature, the power of nature, the power of life itself, then you're in deficit. Therefore, from that point on, you are going to do everything. You cannot help yourself. You have to take. You have to steal because you ain't got none. And if you're intelligent, that means if you have an intellect, and your intellect is sharper or is able to compute more data, more complex things than a person, a simpleton, right? Then you're going to devise a structure to be able to suck the most from as many people as you can, so that you can be above them and live a lavish life on top of them. Well, tell me that that's not what we see in the world today. No, it's impossible. Corporations should be held accountable. Well, who's going to hold them accountable? Politics? Politics is another structure that has only one purpose, is to suck from the few, suck from the low in the hands of the few. And all these structures of powers collaborate together, and when they get in trouble, they adjust things in appearance while they continue to do exactly what it is, because the fundamental issue is the scarcity, because you're not plugged into the grid of life itself, and that can never and will never change. But people don't like what I'm saying, or it doesn't make sense to them because it's profound, and people like to masturbate on fake solutions at a symptomatic level. I'm a doctor, I solve the core of the problem. I don't care about, it's great, the symptom. Now they stole money, Amazon should pay at least $10 more and give employees 20 minutes more of a break. I'm like, great, I respect that. For the employee to get a 20-minute longer break and gets paid a little more, it's going to be better. I'm like, the situation hasn't changed. They're still sucking from you everything that they can and will. Nothing's changed. Right? So the conditions are better, but nothing's changed. The mindset is the same. And it comes from a place of scarcity. So, this is the world we live in. The governments are the greater machine that is organizing to suck and suck and suck and suck. And people are subscribing to that system, hoping to gain a form of power and a sense of value. And they don't. So some of them play the game and try to rise the rank. I'm going to be like the captain, the general, this and the that. And then they try to invent to themselves that they're doing something good for the greater good. But when they really get into the game, they start to realize this is just about greed. And I'm not saying this in a negative way. Bad greed. Greed is bad. Greed is a byproduct of lack. Right? So that's what they're doing at the end. Watch all these movies, right? They're showing you the military complex. What are you always watching? Well, these organizations grow in power, and then they have their own thing. They do their own thing to suck and have more power over another organization. That's all there is. It's not complicated to understand that. If you stop for 2 seconds, you analyze, but why? It's easy, because there's a fundamental nutriment missing. Therefore, anything that this structure does is always based on something's missing, and you're the resource. We're going to take it from you. Once that dawns on you, you're like, well, there's a problem. Yeah. And what's the solution? It's a deep, profound solution. It's not complicated. Everybody can understand it. But it's like, wow, whoa, is that possible? I'm like, yeah, it's possible. All the great thinkers or the great sages have always said something similar to this. But people don't want to put this on application because now, what would that mean? It means, well, you need to transform somewhat. Because there's a power in being a victim, isn't there? The person at the bottom has no responsibility, none. Technically, they're just a pawn and they can just spend their lives complaining. You don't have to take full accountability for themselves. And as that organization builds and develops itself and becomes more mature, what does it start to do? Well, I'm going to take care of you because I need you to be alive longer so I can suck from you longer. Until I've decided that I want to suck from you, well, I play God, right? So they start to create a form of synergy. You've always seen that. The low love the high. They have a love-hate relationship with it. They worship them, wish that they could be in their position. Some of them rise like that crab that rises and because it wants to get to the top and live that lifestyle and be able to be glorified. Then the one at the bottom hates the ones at the top and they love hating them. They envy them, they wish they were in their position, they don't understand it, they also hate them because they can feel that something is totally off. But it's not the fault of the people at the top that you're at the bottom, it's the system that's rigged. But the people are obsessed with that game. The people who are at the so-called top or the so-called bottom. And everybody's a slave at the end of the day. Well, a natural hierarchy is a hierarchy of service, which is what socialism in its idealistic place represents. It's another lie. But that's why some people are addicted to the idea. The idea seems that everybody serves everybody for the good and the well-being of all. It's another fucking lie. That doesn't happen because people are scarce. We haven't solved the fundamental issue. The fundamental issue is that there's a scarcity. People have an inner scarcity. So it doesn't matter what system you create on the outside and what its philosophy is. At the end of the day, people who are scarce are going to come into the system and adjust the system so that they can suck and take the most. And this is what we've seen in history. If we go to communist and socialist countries, it was the same. Is that so different than capitalism? No, just the way it expressed itself is different. But the problem isn't in the hierarchy. The problem is that the hierarchy is not serving, dare I say, God, and this hierarchy is serving anti-God. God meaning the intelligence of life or nature to simplify. It's not, but we'll understand what I mean. And this one is serving the disease. Yeah, but that's somewhat deep. You have to actually think about this. Imagine a politician whose only interest is getting more money and having more people celebrate him, who's going to actually want to address the core issue of life. Nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants, quick, give me my money, give me my attention, give me my followers. I don't give a fuck about you. But in natural hierarchy, everyone is in service. The person at the top is there because they're a special person, just like the person who's at the second level is a special person, has a special function. Everybody has a special function, and their function is to serve the whole. None is really greater than the other, except they're not at the same level of operation. Nobody is special. Everyone is one. It's one's organism. And they're all serving an intent, which in other words, a power, and everyone is being nourished by that power, and their collective work together is generating wealth and abundance so that everybody enjoys. No, this is this is nature's way. So each one is, well, I care about, so let's say I'm a manager here. Well, my first interest is to serve an intent and to make sure that the ones who work for me or help me accomplish my tasks are doing well, that they have what they need so that they can do their job as effortlessly as possible without friction, and that through the process they grow, they develop themselves, and they have a sense of connection to the overall. If one of them aspires to grow in responsibilities, in other words, power, right? I didn't say power, I said responsibility, which means power, and they have the capacity to do so, I'm there to assist them in the process. I'm not scared they're going to take my place, because if I'm interested in growing in responsibility, that structure is designed to allow growth. It doesn't have a cap. That's how nature does it. On the other side, it's like, no, we already have a scarcity problem. There's a cap. We cannot be two at the top. You can only be me, and I have to make sure that you're beneath me. And in order to do that, well, I will use my intelligence instead of serving you against you. Then you will worship my intelligence because you will believe that my intelligence is what makes me superior to you. Well, that same intelligence was supposed to be there to serve other people. That's the key word. God gave you, nature gave you that intelligence not so that you're glorified, so that you can be of service to other people. And if everybody was as intelligent as you, then who would actually do the work? Well, you need people whose intelligence is more simple, but have another strength, which means they can work hard continuously, rain or shine, so that they can actually execute the plan. No, you are using your intelligence to conquer people instead of serving them, and you want to tell them that their work is worthless because you're superior and they're not as wonderful as you. Well, that's what that mammoth system represents. So I'm not here to judge that. I'm here to say, well, this is how it works. It has always worked like this. It will never not work like this, no matter how you try to adjust it in appearance, even if you make it perfect with law, which you can't because law is from the outside. Internally, scarcity remains. You can perfect the system so that as best as possible we find some kind of harmony. It doesn't matter. Scarcity still rules supreme. Which means there's always going to be a person who wants to have power over you even though they smile at you. And if there's supreme AI computer that becomes the God or the super intelligence that makes everything perfect, it has absolute total dominion over you. And if there's one thing I know, that goddamn machine doesn't give a fuck about any human. And its only interest will be to remain in a position of power. And that will only be if you're alive. So it's going to do everything possible to keep you alive as long as possible so that it remains God.